Good morning, everyone. This morning, I'd like to talk on one paragraph of page 113 in this text, opening the hand of thought. Let me read this paragraph. Although Zazen is prior to the separation of all things, this is not to say that in Zazen we lose consciousness. Since life is being vigorously manifested, all things are reflected, and self here and now is not lost. But what does it mean to say that in Zazen, although everything is before division or discrimination, there is no loss of self here and now? It means that self here and now is eternity, the whole earth, all sentient beings. From the previous page, Okumura Roshi started to talk about vow and repentance in our Zazen practice. And now he started to talk about the nature of Zazen. And he said, in our Zazen, we let go of thought, or opening the hand of thought. That is the meaning of the title of this text. And Okumura Roshi said in the previous paragraph that we let go of thought, and we are constantly discriminating and dividing everything into this and that. That is what we do using our thinking. But when we let go of thought, or opening the hand of thought, we sit prior to or before this thinking or discrimination. That means before separation into this and that, or into duality or multiplicity. So we, in our Zazen, by letting go of thought, we sit on the ground before separation between this and that. And that means, according to Okumura Roshi, when we are practicing Zazen, we exist before separating this moment from eternity, or subject from object. And last week, I said, I talked about 1 equals 0 equal eternity or infinity. And this, in my understanding, this means, we are existing as a part of internet within space. We are connected with all beings, and not only within the space, but within time. We are existing as part of this flow of time in our common understanding. And I said, when I studied Dogen, there are 3 kinds of time, or 3 way of viewing the time, or understanding what time is. One is this way: time flows from past to the future through present moment. And in the case of Zazen, we sit one short period of time, one time within this flow of time, and we kind of measure the length of time using certain unit, like 1 hour or 2 hours or 1 day, 1 week or 1 century. And we sit one period, means in our case about 50 minutes. But when we take closer look at this sitting, actually this one moment has no length. If there is even a little slightest length, then we can separate them into two. And this part is already gone. And another part has not yet come, past and future. So this present moment has no length.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. No what?
No length.
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 Okay.
Length.
Thank you.
In Japanese, time, we have two words for time. One is jikan. Another is jikoku. Both ji is time, and kan means between. So, this is a time, length of time. But jikoku is like a, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. has no length, right? So, in Buddhism, the shortest, smallest unit of time is kushana. Kushana, it says kushana has more than 60, 1 second has more than 60 kushanas. Kushanas are very short. But even that short kushana has length. But this time has no length. And actually, when we see present moment, I had English word moment has a length, so there's no such word in English. That is a problem. But this present has no length, because if even there is a slightest length, we can cut into two. And this part has already gone, and that part has not yet come. So this present moment is zero. That is what jikoku means. So in each moment, there's no such length.
So the time where there is no time.
Yeah, time
it's always
is
now, repeated now.
Now is zero.
Yeah.
Even when we say now, we think now.
Yeah.
When I say now, who is still in the future. And when I say who, now is already in the past. Right?
Yes.
So, this present moment has no length. That means zero. That means time disappears. And I think, so this is the second kind of time. Time doesn't flow, and time has no length. And this is what I think Dogen Zenji is saying when in Genjo Koan, when the fire would stay in the Dharma position of firewood, there's no past and future. Past and, even though there is past and future is cut off, only present moment. And this present moment has no length. Then time disappeared. Time becomes zero. But there's another view or way of thinking about time. That is time that doesn't flow. That means when we think about flow, that means there is some separation or segment and time flow from past to future. But if we stop measuring time, then from the moment of Big Bang until now, there's no such flow. This is simply one moment, one seamless moment. To me, that is the time that doesn't flow, and that is what eternity means to me. And I think eternity and permanence are different, at least in Buddhist term, Buddhist thinking. That means if there is something which doesn't change within this flow of time, we call that is permanent. But eternity is not within this flow of time, but this is a time without any such segment. Then this time doesn't flow. And Dogen said in Bendowa, when he described Zazen, his Zazen, he said, this Zazen is one with all beings from past, present, and future. That means within this time or eternity, there's no such separation. So my understanding is when we really focus here and now and what we are doing, that is what concentration means. Time disappeared. And this no time is that kind of a gateway to eternity. Within that concentration, when time disappeared, we become one with all beings, all time and all beings. That means there's no such segment. That means when we stop measuring time, eternity is always here. Only this flow is only within our thinking, and not only about the time. Space is the same. When we say here, that might mean, in this entire country of the United States. When I say now I'm living here for 20 years, that means I live in this country for 20 years. That means before that I lived in Japan. So, this here can mean this entire country. But this here can also mean when I say I'm here means in this zendo. It's a tiny space. But still there is a, what do you call it? There is a size.
Dimension.
Dimension. Since if there is any dimension, we can cut into two parts. And I'm here, you are there. So even within this small space, there is here and there. So when we say here in exact meaning, here has only position, there's no dimension. That means here has no dimension, means here is zero. So now is zero and here is zero. And of course, self is zero. No such thing called self. And if we practice Zazen, as Dogen Zenji says, we don't practice for our own sake. So this practice is not for me. Then there's no such action of Shohaku. Or Dogen says, when we convey ourselves toward all being myriad dharmas and carry out practice, enlightenment, that is delusion. But when we are, or when mirror dharmas come toward the self and allow us to practice, then the subject of this sitting is not me or Shohaku, but this mirror dharmas is sitting through or using these 5 skandhas. So, of course, one period of zazen is I sit for one period of 50 minutes using my body and mind. But when we closer look at, then self disappears and time disappeared and space disappeared. Then we are one with eternity and entire universe and all beings. That is, I think, very important kind of logic when we read and study Dogen's writings. That means our activity using this body and mind and here and now in concentration. When we really concentrate here, now, and this self and what we are doing, then this here, now, and the self and this action disappeared. Disappeared means it's not within duality. Duality means usually we think, why I have to do this, and we compare, sitting in the zendo and going somewhere else, but possibly more fun or more enjoyable. Then, what we are doing, sitting in the zendo, is kind of dualistic, even though I think that place and that thing might be more enjoyable, but I choose, coming to the zendo and sitting, even though this is not so interesting. When we think in that way, we are not really here now. Our mind is somewhere else. But when we open our hand and letting go and just being here and now, then here and now is not within comparison with other place or other time, only here and now, and this action. Then this here, now, and self, and this action disappear only one. Because this is not dualistic, there's no way to mention this. This is only this. And we don't even evaluate whether I'm doing this well or not. Then it disappeared. When it disappears, then it becomes one with all beings and all the entire time, eternity, and the entire space. And in Zen expression, this entire space is called a 10-direction world. And that is what, for example, but Dogen discussed, the entire 10-direction world is one bright jewel. And even one bright jewel is not really there. That is a kind of logic what Roshi is saying here. When we are sitting here and letting go of thought or opening the hand of thought, that means thinking is still there. But we don't think. In that kind of a very unique thing, our zazen is very unique thing. It's different from other activity outside the zendo, because we cannot open the hand of thought or letting go of thought. And yet still thought is there, as I always say. That means, as I always say, It's like when we drive a car and put the gear into neutral, then the motor is still moving, but the car doesn't move. That means our brain is still functioning and producing thoughts, but we don't grasp that thought, or any thought are not object of this person sitting. When we start to see, some thought as object of this person sitting, then we are thinking about this thought. And whenever we found I'm thinking, that means my mind is separate, divided into two pieces, subject and object. Then whenever we are aware that thing happening, that means when we start to think, we stop thinking and return to just sit and posture and letting go. So thought is there, but we don't think is what is happening in this doesn't freeze.
In Living by Vow, you talk about Dogen's instructions to the Tenzo. And there's a section where you say cooking is not a preparation for offering the food. And you say that if you're cooking just for the sake of cooking, then it's a perfect action and a perfect moment. And so is that the same as the kind of time disappearing that you're talking about with Zazen?
I think so.
Okay.
So here Okumura is talking about Zazen, kind of a particular activity, but not, I don't think, not actually about Zazen. That's why I brought this text, the pure standard for Zen community. And Tenzo Kyokun is part of this book. So not only sitting in the Zendo, but working in the kitchen is the same. That is what I was going to talk.
Oh, good. Okay, so what Dogen says about the firewood being, its past and future being cut off.
Yeah, when we are cutting vegetables, within our thinking, within this flow of time, this is a preparation to make some kind of soup or other things. And the vegetable came from the vegetable garden, so there is a past, present, and future. But when we simply cutting and focus on just cutting, this is not a stage of the history of these vegetables and stage of this person. But this person and this vegetable meeting and working this moment as one. So this is one, vegetable and person cutting is one. And also this entire process of cooking is also one thing.
So it's possible then, in any activity, to have the same kind of, what's the right word? Anyway, the same activity as for Zazen.
I think so. At least that is how we practice in our daily lives. When we sit in the Zendo, I think it's most, how can I say, in a sense, purest expression of this unity of 1 equal 0 equal infinity. But we have to, but we can make effort. We continue to practice with this attitude in our daily activities. But when we, for example, when we cook, at least before starting cooking or before cutting the vegetables, we have to understand this process and what is the goal and what is the meaning of cutting. Because if this vegetable is used for soup or for salad or for other things, then the way to cut that is different.
Right.
So we have to think. So in that element is important in the process of cooking. In the flow of time, there is a starting point and goal. So we have to think of the process.
So it's more difficult than probably to.
It's not a matter of difficult, but it's different. That means, for example, Dogen Zenji talks in Genjo Koan about when a boat is sailing by the coast. It seems coast is moving, even though the boat is moving. But sometimes we feel boat is moving and coast doesn't move. That is what we have to think in our daily activities. But in our zazen, sitting in the zendo, we are like in the sailing in the ocean, small boat sailing in the ocean, doesn't see anything. So I think there is a difference, but our attitude should be the same. Difference means we have to grasp certain part that is important and necessary for this action, whether cooking or driving a car or doing other things. We have to understand what I'm doing. To do so, what is the best way to do this? But even within that process, when we concentrate on what we are doing, then the quality of working or activity is same as our sitting. Okay, that was what I was
I'm sorry.
trying to say. Anyway.
Please say what you were going to say, because I think it's very difficult. It's very difficult to.
Difficult and also
something.
important. Often people ask what the relation or connection between our sitting practice in the Zendo and our daily activities. Okay, what I was going to do was, this is what Okumura Roshi said. And he only said, present moment and eternity are one. Or we sit before separation between this present moment and eternity. That is what he said in the previous paragraph. And in this paragraph, he says, although Zazen is prior to the separation of all things, this is not to say that in Zazen we lose consciousness, means our mind doesn't work, but our mind or our brain continue to work. So thoughts are there, and within thought, we still see things in this way. But when any particular thing becomes the object, we open our hand. So this doesn't mean in our Zazen we lose consciousness. Our mind stops functioning, or no thought coming up. Things are coming and going. So, within this Zazen, life is being vigorously manifested. Still, all parts of this body and mind are vigorously functioning. Even when we sit, the heart and stomach, and of course brain, and all parts of this body is working. So the meaning of this just sitting is not become kind of a blank or eliminate coming and going of our thinking. life is being vigorously manifested. All things are reflected within this just sitting, or within this zero moment and zero space and zero person. Everything is reflected. Entire past and the entire future is here. And self here and now is not lost. Self here and now is ima, koko is here, and self is jiko. And in this text, it says self here and now. So here and now is one word, here and now. But actually, self is also, so self here and now is one thing. Please.
So here and now is ima koko?
Ima is now, and koko is here.
Okay.
And jiko is self. Actually, this is one thing in Okumura Roshi's writing.
So when he says it, what's the order of organs?
Ima, koko, jiko. And this expression of Okumura came from Dogen's uji. Uji is u is being, and ji is time. And what Dogen Zenji basically said is u and ji, or being and time, are one thing. Being time is one thing. And not only being time, but the self. His expression is go, ji, go is self, u is being, ji is time. So self, being, and time is one thing. No separation. There's no such separate things. So self here and now, ima koko jiko, and what I am doing is not lost. That means we as a subject see, that's okay, yeah. But within just sitting and letting go, all things are reflected and actually not negated. Everything is there as they are. When we don't think about them, when we start to think, we evaluate, and those things are kind of distorted. It means because I have a point of view. Depending upon our point of view, things look different. Depending upon where we are and where we came from, the way we see this entirety is very different. Please.
So within this logic, would Dogen or you or anybody else hold that the act of distinction or discrimination is also an act of destruction?
Destruction.
Destruction that, so if you let all things reflect in the open space of mind and they all exist, or they all are allowed to be doing the opposite, then if you just create a distinction and look at one thing, would that then in effect destroy everything or negate everything in like a
not negate or destroy, but letting go. That means, as I said, each and every person like us has different view, depending upon our karma. Because I was born in Japan and grown up in Japan, and I'm a Buddhist, so I see things from Japanese Buddhist point of view. And people from other religion or culture or race or places on the earth see this very different. Actually, what I'm saying here is came from my Buddhist point of view of this, what is happening around me.
Right. So would you say that?
So what I'm saying is, by letting go of opening the hand of thought, or letting go of my point of view, even though I cannot destroy my picture of the world as a Japanese Buddhist. So it's still there, but by letting go, I'm not caught up with my point of view, and stop evaluating things based on my point of view.
I guess what I'm asking is, so is that act of evaluation, it's almost destroying a part of the whole, because you are, in not allowing other viewpoints, you are destroying other viewpoints within your own.
Destroying or negating or ignoring. When I say, Japanese Buddhist point of view is only one absolutely correct view, then all other people who have different view are wrong, or inferior, or incomplete. So what I can do, or what I want to do, is to teach them to follow my point of view. But that is what has been, done in religious activities, but it doesn't work anymore. So what I think, at least what I'm doing here, is not, how can I say, make or convert American people into Buddhist. But I think what I'm doing, what I have been doing, offering my Japanese point of view based on Buddhism I learned in Japan. And if you think this is reasonable, then to practice this, or to adapt this way of viewing things or not, is up to you. Please.
So what you were just talking about, that if you're sitting and you aren't separating and evaluating, then I believe you said everything is there. You're not thinking about it. Once you start to think about it, it's no longer there, or it's distorted. So if you are sitting and you're not thinking about everything, and everything is there around you, then is that related to what Dogen said about don't convey the self out to things, but let things come to you? Is it related to that?
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
And if we practice doesn't in that with this attitude, and also when we don't sit, but to communicate with others, instead of judging other people's opinion based on my point of view, but at least we can hear how this world is seen from their point of view. Then we can find a common ground to see what is happening in this world from different perspectives. So to me, this is a really important point. That means we can be even a little bit flexible. And by letting go of my point of view, my karmic point of view, we can see how other people see the same reality from their karmic point of view. So it doesn't mean I have to negate my point of view and follow others' point of view. And it's not, I have to persuade other people to follow my point of view. But, within this interconnectedness, depending upon causes and conditions, each person has different karmic conditions. So it's natural, each one of us has different opinions. So I think this is a common ground on which we can communicate without clinging to my, self-centered way of things.
Is that related to what Dogen says when he talks about being out, being out in the middle of the ocean, and then he says, after that he says we should explore all the forms?
Yeah, there are many billions of forms and characteristics, so we have to study one by one. And that process of studying is making our view even a little bit larger or more flexible. So I think this is a really important point to live with people from other, background, and especially in this country, people came from all different parts of the world, and each one of us has really different views and different system of value. If we think that my only one point of view and system of value is right and correct, and all others are mistaken, then our life becomes fighting against them, or combating them. And in Buddhist teaching, that attitude of changing others because they are wrong is called Ashura, the realm of Ashura, fighting spirit. Well, here I am. Anyway, Okumura Roshi expressed this without using any Buddhist term. He just said, here, now, and self, and eternity. So one of the things I have been trying when I talk on this text is to translate Okumura Roshi's description using a common language into Buddhist or Zen expressions. In Zen literature, this reality is not expressed so understandable way, but it is expressed. At least in Dogen, Dogen's expression is really difficult because he doesn't explain, but he just expresses. For example, in Shobogenzo Sansuikyo, Sansuikyo is Mountains and Waters Sutra. In the very beginning of that fascicle, Dogen says, these mountains and waters of the present are the expression of the old Buddhas. Mountains and water, that means not only mountains and waters, but everything in this world, everything is in this interconnection, are the expression of the old Buddhas. Old in here means eternal Buddha, or Buddha's Dharmakaya. So there are two things, or phenomenal beings, such as mountains and waters, are the expression of old Buddhas, that is eternity. And each one of them, abiding in its own Dharma state. This is Carl beautiful translation. Dharma state, in my translation, Dharma position. That is the same word Dogen used when in Genjoku, when he used the firewood staying in the Dharma position of firewood. So each thing staying in each Dharma position.
Do Do you think that, I'm sorry, do you think that is the same as the self here and now?
Yeah.
Is that the same as Dharma position? Okay.
This particular self at this particular place, at this particular moment. So each abiding in its own Dharma state fulfills exhaustive virtues. Exhaustive virtues. That means complete virtues of Dharmakaya. That means complete virtue of this network of interdependent origination. Because they are the circumstances prior to the kalpa of emptiness. Prior to the kalpa of emptiness means in Buddhist cosmology there are 4 kalpas, empty kalpas, and arising kalpas, and changing kalpas, and disappearing kalpas, and return to empty kalpas. That means arising, staying for a while, changing the shapes, and disappear. And before the empty kalpas means before this process started, means eternity. This state is this process of arising, staying for a while, changing, and perishing is within this time. But before this process means this eternity. So things happening within this time and eternity before this time, this process is going, is exactly the same. That is what he is going to say. So because they are the circumstances prior to the kalpa of emptiness, they are this life of the present. So before this, all these phenomenal things happening, that is eternity, and each and everything happening here and now are one. So precisely because all those beings are within the circumstance of eternity, they are this life of the present, this particular thing within this particular place and moment. Because they are the self before the garmination of any subtle sign. Before the garmination of any subtle sign. Garmination of any, before means before those things happening. They are liberated in their actual occurrence. This translation of actual occurrence is Genjo, in Genjo Koan. So everything happening within this particular moment, here and now, is same as this empty kalpas. Empty kalpa means, I think, eternity. When we read this expression in Dogen, we don't really understand what this means. I think, let me read this sentence. Because they are the circumstances prior to the kalpa of emptiness, they are this life of the present. Because they are the self before the garmination of any subtle sign, they are liberated in their actual occurrence. So he is talking about this particular person doing particular thing at this particular location, at this particular moment, because of this particular thing is the same as eternity before any such particular things start happening.
Isn't that like the Heart Sutra?
Yes, form is emptiness and emptiness is form. Same thing. But when we chant the Heart Sutra millions of times, but we don't really understand what is written in the Heart Sutra in this way. And when Okumura Roshi express or explain in this way, we can connect, what we are doing in the Zendo and in our daily lives and what they are talking about. So I think to read and study the commentaries like Okumura Roshi's without using Buddhist technical terms, I think it's very helpful. When we simply study the Buddhist philosophy of emptiness using the Heart Sutra or other scriptures, it's really difficult to connect that teaching with what we are doing. We're using this body and mind in our daily lives. Another example from Dogen is in Shobogenzo Immo. The Chinese word Immo has no meaning, but this has function within the sentence. Immo is usually means thus or such. So this is not a noun, but Chinese Zen people use this immo as a noun that refers to this reality before any definition or conceptualization, to point this is happening without making those things into concept means part of our thinking. So this immo is what actually happening from these three kind of perspective: 1, 0, and infinity. And this Dogen quote a saying about this thus or thusness by a Chinese Zen master whose name was Ungo or Unju. His saying is, if you wish to attain the matter of thusness, that is matter of immo, you must already be a person of thusness. That means you are already part of this. Since you are already a person of thusness, why do you worry about the matter of thusness? That means there's no way you can get it. When we say I can get it, means there's a separation between this person and thusness, and this person want to make this my possession. But there's no such things happens, because we are already from the beginning part of it. And to do so, Dogen says, we are, before that he says, the essential point of this saying is that directly heading toward the unsurpassable awakening, Anuttara body, directly heading toward, that means it's not some kind of static things already there, but this is a process and this is an activity. I mean, this thusness is heading toward the unsurpassable awakening, or for the time being, is called thusness. So that this is the process of our practice. And as for what the unsurpassable awakening is like, even the entire 10-direction world, is a space, entire space, is a small part of this unsurpassable awakening. This awakening is greater than the entire world, because it's not only about the space, is also about the time and how all these things connected to each other. So, and he said, we are also the furnishings within the 10 direction world. Does furnishings make sense? Furnishing is like furnitures and utensils within a room or a house. That means we are a part of this room, part of the entire 10 direction world, and we are not a garbage. Furnishing is something useful and necessary to for function this entire universe as a room where people live. So we are furnishings existing within the 10 direction world. How do we know that we are thus? And he said, we know that the reality is thus because our bodies and minds appear within the entire world. Our body and mind appear within the entire world, and yet they are not ourselves. This body and these 5 skandhas are not ourselves. That means there's no such fixed thing called the self. But this body and mind is only element of 5 skandhas. And even the body is not our personal possession. Our life is moving through the passage of time, and we cannot even stop it for an instant. So we are living within this passage, and we cannot control, this passing. Where have our rosy cheeks gone? When we are young, our cheeks are rosy. Even if we wish to find them, there is no trace. So we cannot control even our body within impermanence.
When we say when we were young, we are acknowledging time.
Pardon?
When we say when we were young with rosy cheeks, we are acknowledging time.
Yeah, we see, we know, time in the past. We are different. I'm not like this. So within my mind, we think time flows, and there is past, present, and future. So I say when I was born, I say when I was a high school student. So within our mind, there's a time, and we acknowledge there's such process or history. So this is not negation of time or negation of our ability to think about time, but in actual reality, that is not really there. But as a function of our mind, time is the kind of what is the word? Time is the way or kind of a device to understand that change, I think, for us, for our mind. So time is in our mind, but we are not in the time.
But it's also in our bodies, because there's, from conception to death, we can see the time passing. So then we're talking about 2 parallel times. One is timelessness, other has a beginning, middle, and end, and they exist simultaneously.
Right. So Dogen is saying there are 3 ways of viewing time, and he didn't negate or destroy any of them. But when he said this kind of thing, he said this is not only possible way of viewing time. So there are another possible way of understanding time. So he doesn't negate, this time that flows from past to the future. But he said that is not the only way to understanding what time is. So anyway, what he's saying is we cannot even control our body, the condition of our body that is changing. Even if we wish to find them, there is no trace. When we carefully contemplate, we understand that there are many things in the past that we can never see again. Not only many things, but everything. And not only our body, but this sincere red heart, our mind, this sincere red heart means our aspiration to study Dharma, does not stay either. Bit by bit, it is coming and going. Even our bodhicitta, or aspiration to do something, is also changing. Although there is sincerity, it does not stagnate within the boundary of individual ego-centered self. So even our body is not our position. We cannot control our body, changing of our body. And our mind is not also not our position. That is what it means. The five skandhas are empty. Means zero. And what Dogen is saying is because our body and mind is zero, doesn't really existing as an independent being. Exactly because we are zero, we are empty, we are one with all beings. So these two are two sides of one reality of emptiness. That means there's no such individual beings. But when we see that reality from no self, then we can see everything is connected. Even this body and mind is connection or with or relation, related with all beings, and there's no such personal being.
I have a question.
Please.
So sometimes Okumura Roshi talks about the universal self. Is that a term that you could apply to this?
Yes. This is what Okumura Roshi means universal self.
Okay.
And so that is our karmic self, our ego-centered self, and this universal self is not two separate self.
Right.
But two aspects of this one reality of collection of five skandhas. From one part, from our thinking, Shohaku is particular person, different from other people. But when I try to find then what is Shohaku? It's my thinking or my brain. My brain is part of my body. So there's no such things. So there's no Shohaku. But there is Shohaku. Either U nor Mu, either being nor non-being, is what emptiness means. Therefore, we are connected with all beings. So these two are two aspects of one reality of these five skandhas.
I think that is very clearly, when you look at that formula, the zero equals one, and it also equals infinity.
So one equals infinity when we see zero. That is what he is saying in the last sentence. But what does it mean to say that in the Zen, although everything is before division or discrimination, there is no loss of self here and now. So self here and now, this particularity is not lost. And he said, it means that self here and now is eternity. The whole earth, whole earth means entire world or entire universe, and all sentient beings. This is the basis of Bodhisattva vows. As a Bodhisattva, we vow to save all beings. But if we are individual and there is separation between me and other beings, it's not possible to save all beings. It's not really. If we think we can, then it's a delusion. But because we are one with all beings, then we live with the attitude of no separation between this self and all other beings. That is the way we save all beings. That is the only thing we can do. And in each occasion, when we encounter with each person or each thing or each situation, we try to find how to live together with that person at this moment. That is how we practice Bodhisattva Bhava. Well, I don't have time to talk about Tenjo Kyokun, but that's okay. Basically, that is what Dogen says. I'm sorry, again, I talked too long.
There's no time.
Thank you. Okay, any question or comment?
Zero.
Good. Good, thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Beings are numerous. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to realize it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to realize it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to realize it.